Balance changes are coming in Clash Mania, and I'm going to give you a breakdown of what is going to be changed in this video. Alright, so kicking things off, we are going to have some text and effects changes. This is actually on my global wish list of what needed to be changed for the game, so I'm really happy this is being introduced, and I'm going to try to run through these as quickly as possible. So I will also leave a color code down in the not in the comment section, but down below my face cam. So let's hop into it. Ability triggers and names will be labeled in blue, and stat increases will be labeled in green. So for example, when it says Clash deals 20 damage, and then in parentheses let's say +10, that means the ability trigger is a Clash ability, deals 20 damage, and then the stat increase is +10. So this example is for the Spear Goblin, so the Clash will deal 20 damage, and then that's +10. So that Spear Goblin's first ability grants it +10, which means the Spear Goblin Spear deals a total of 20 damage. It's not 20 + 10, it is now 20 damage because of the +10. So I think this is a huge indication of and clarification of things that we needed for abilities like this. Buffs and effects will be listed in purple. So when it says every 6th attack gains cleave, every 6th attack, that 6th attack will be in blue because that is the ability trigger, and then gains cleave, that is the buff or effect that is listed in purple. So great example of how that will now look. And then also positioning of positions now have consistent names. So adjacent is the left and right, it's 2 tiles. Close is the plus, the up, down, left, right. Surrounding is the tiles that surround that specific mini, and then nearby is that 2 tile range. So for example, like the lumberjack or the giant skeleton bomb, things like that. Some keywords have now been changed. Dissipate and energy absorb will now be energy drain and energy steal. Energy drain is dissipate, energy steal is the absorb. The +2 damage to enemies under 50% is now execute +2. 1 damage per second for wizard is now burning 2 seconds. And then there will be more tooltips to describe these mechanics as well. So I'm really excited to see these changes implemented. I knew that the text and ability language was a bit confusing, so really glad that they made these changes. Now we're going to be kicking the balance changes off with the heroes. The first hero getting a change is going to be the Barbarian King. Its 1 HP ability will now grant invulnerable and unstoppable for the same duration. So being stunned when the Barbarian King was on its last life and had that kind of invulnerable state, now it will be unstoppable, so it can't be stunned, can't be knocked back, anything like that. This will allow the Barbarian King to have an opportunity to pull off a clutch victory, so I really like this change for the Barb King. Next up is Natureborn. Natureborn is getting a nerf. Her deer form starting energy will be reduced to 0 from 2. And then the base HP for both forms is going to be reduced by 5. So an overall nerf to Natureborn, which honestly might put her in her place. Next up for the World Champion, she is going to be getting a base hit speed increase to 0.75 from 0.65. I think this is really all the World Champion needed. It's more so just World Champion needs to be casting her shield so that she's able to protect herself. And I think this base hit speed change makes a lot of sense. And the last hero nerf is going to be Shield Maiden. No, I'm just kidding. It's Wavemaster. We know Wavemaster needed a nerf, so I'm really excited to see Wavemaster on this list. And I think this is actually a really good change for Wavemaster too. So its super tidal wave upgrades will reduce from +1 second stun to +0.5 second stun. So it will lose overall a 1 second stun, so its super won't be able to stun as long as it currently does, which is great. Its flip ability will lose 2 energy at base level, so that means the flipped unit will gain 2 less energy than it does currently, which is a great change in synergies like Bandit, Swordsman, things like that. And then this is a huge change as well. Its second ability, its every 6th attack will gain cleave and 30% slow, so that arc is going to be reduced to cleave, so it won't hit the 2 tiles on the side of it either, so it's just a cleave, kind of like the minor is, with that 3 tiles right in front of it. And then instead of stunning, it's actually going to be a 30% slow. So it's just going to slow the unit instead of stun the unit. I love this change for the Wavemaster. He has a ton of crowd control, and he's really the only hero that has this versatility where he can stun units, disposition them, also heal, grant energy, and shield. Like, he has way too much going for his kit. He is a super powerful hero, so I love this change for Wavemaster. Makes him a lot less dominant in the meta. And what's a Wavemaster nerf without a Bandit nerf? That's right, Bandit is going to have its base HP reduced to 17 from 22. Its HP per star upgrade is going to be reduced to 11 from 12, so overall losing 8 HP at max level, which is great. Its super dash is going to lose its 2 energy absorb at base level, so her base ability can deny supers and start creating change. This makes it so that the energy absorb is a specific choice that the player makes and not default of the mini instead. So I love this change for the Bandit. So now she doesn't absorb any energy at her base level. You actually have to choose that upgrade to get her to absorb energy, which is great. I love the change, and that means she's not going to be able to chain as many supers as well, because she's also not gaining as much energy as before. Her super damage is going to be increased to 5 from 4. That makes sense. And then her second upgrade, stun, is now going to be switched to slow. So it's going to have that 30% slow for 3 seconds, but no more stunning and Bandit infinitely chaining and stunning and all that stuff. So love this change for the Bandit. Next up is the Dagger Goblin. The Dagger Goblin is getting a pretty significant buff, as I think majority of people saw that he needed. His attack damage is going to be increased to 4 from 3. Base HP is going to be increased to 11 from 10. Its HP per upgrade is going to be increased to 6 from 5, which means his total HP is going to be 29 at 3 stars instead of 25. The base skill Insidious is going to trigger after 3 seconds instead of after 4 seconds. And now its bonus run speed or movement speed is going to be increased to 100% instead of 50%. Its first upgrade is going to get rid of that Insidious minus 2 seconds. It's now going to be a Poison Dagger, and it's going to have attacks inflict a minus 66% heal. So now Dagger Goblin's first upgrade is going to be an anti-heal unit, which is really cool because this is going to be the 3rd anti-heal unit that we have in the game next to Wizard and Valkyrie. So really like this change, and also the 3rd upgrade for the Dagger Goblin. That invisibility is going to last for 3 seconds instead of 2 seconds. I personally think it was too short. It didn't allow units enough time to move away and let them target another unit. Dagger Goblin felt kind of vulnerable in that state, so I really love these changes to the Dagger Goblin. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Next up, we have the Golden Giant. Its second upgrade, Rampage bonus, is now going to heal and grant block for 3 seconds, and then its third upgrade, KO, no longer heals, but instead grants block and unstoppable to nearby allies for 4 seconds. And note that nearby ally is going to be part of the new position with consistent names. So the nearby is going to be the example of that Lumberjack Rage Potion. So that is going to be the upgrade for the Golden Giant, and I think this actually feels pretty good for Golden Giant, so we'll see how he slides his way into the meta. Next up, we have the Healing Ranger. The Healing Ranger's starting energy is going to be increased to 2 from 1, and its third upgrade, Unstoppable, is now going to have a duration of 5 seconds instead of a duration of 3 seconds. I don't know if this is going to be an overbuff for the Healing Ranger, but it doesn't heal anymore. It doesn't get super off frequently anymore than it does now. It just gets its first one off quicker. But honestly, I think this is a pretty okay change to the Healing Ranger, because this means we won't have stun metas, because Healing Ranger is going to have the Unstoppable last a lot longer. So hopefully this will help prevent some stun metas. It might make Healing Ranger like a necessity in every deck, but we'll see how the meta shakes up. Ice Wizard. This is a massive change for the Ice Wizard. It's a third upgrade, the Clash ability where it freezes itself and the units next to it, adjacent, as we're going to be calling it. So it no longer freezes them. Instead, it just grants the Ice Wizard and its adjacent allies 8 shields. So it can be knocked back and damaged. It can be moved from a fisherman. It will no longer freeze the units in place. It's just going to grant them a shield instead. And while people would argue that this takes away from skill, because Ice Wizard provided a skill value that you knew exactly how to properly play it to counter your opponent's abilities and things like that, I agree, but it was too strong for Ice Wizard. Ice Wizard is a 2-cost mini, and it should not have an ability that polarizing. I think if they were to have this ability reintroduced into the game, it needs to be on a 3-cost or even a 4-cost mini. So maybe like if they introduce Ice Golem, maybe Ice Golem's a 3 elixir or a 4 elixir mini, and that can have that freeze adjacent allies. I felt that that ability was way too strong for a 2-cost mini, so I am a big fan of this change, but let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below. Next up is the Fisherman. This is also a pretty significant change. So the attack speed per star for Fisherman is going to be increased to 0.1 from nothing, so now it's getting an attack speed per star upgrade. Its hook range is going to be reduced to 3 tiles from 4 tiles. This means if you place Fisherman in the front row, it can no longer reach the last row on your opponent's side, and the hook will always pull 4 tiles, so it'll place the enemy behind the Fisherman. So that third upgrade is going away. It will always pull whatever enemy it's targeting 4 tiles to it, which means it's going to be placed behind the Fisherman. And now the third upgrade from that +2 rows is going to be changed to a +3 damage versus isolated enemies. So this is going to be a massive change for how Fisherman is played. Typically, Fisherman was just utilized to pull units away, separate and everything like that. But now there's a lot more strategy that goes into it. Do I want to pull just one enemy unit and get that extra isolated damage with the Fisherman? Or do I want to displace his whole row and pull 3 enemies and kind of switch things up and throw off his army comp? There's different things that you can now do with Fisherman, and this makes Fisherman a lot more interesting and a lot more playable because he's now getting that isolation, he's now getting attack speed per upgrades and things like that. So I really like this change for the Fisherman, and you'll no longer be able to target that back row, so you can place magic archers and witches and electro wizards and all that stuff safely. Next up, we have the Magic Archer. This isn't too big of a change. Its base attack speed is going to be increased to 0.6 from 0.55, but its attack speed per level is going to be decreased to 0.1 from 0.15, which means at 3 stars, then the Magic Archer has a 0.1 less attack speed. So he won't attack as quickly at max level, but will attack quicker at base level. For the Mini Pekka, simple change, upgrade 1, its critical chance is now going to be 50% instead of 40%, and ideally all future critical abilities will just be 50% chance to trigger for simplicity. Mega Knight is getting a little bit of a buff and nerf at the same time. Its attack damage is going to be increased to 2 from 1, but its third upgrade is going to lose that bonus energy on critical hits. So when Mega Knight gets critical hit, it will no longer gain extra energy, but the trade-off is that it now deals 2 damage instead of 1. Pekka is getting a little bit of a rework for her third upgrade. It's just changing from 3 times critical to +4 attack damage. Mathematically, Pekka 3 stars stays the same, but that +4 attack damage is easier for a new player to understand than 3 times critical. Prince is getting a decent change. Its base HP is going to be increased to 20 from 18. It's getting its stun removed on charge misses, and also from that 2nd star upgrade. So now Prince will just no longer be stunned when it misses a charge or anything like that. The pony's attack damage is going to be increased to 2 from 1, but the pony will lose its ability to knock back and stun on attacks. So a little bit of a buff to the Prince overall, but also a pretty significant nerf to the pony, losing that knockback and stun. Rogo's getting a simple change as well. Its base HP is just going to be increased to 12 from 10. Spear Goblin is getting a very interesting change. Its second upgrade, which is that boast ability, is now going to be a clash ability that will deal minus 66% heal for 8 seconds. Yes, that's right. Spear Goblin is also getting the anti-heal ability for its clash ability. I really like this change. That second upgrade with the boast felt kind of useless. It was never really impactful. It didn't really change the flow of the battle or anything. But this anti-heal ability for the clash is a huge game changer. So I really like this change, but let me know what you think for this change for the Spear Goblin down in the comment section below. Valkyrie is getting a slight buff as well. Her base HP is going to be increased by 3, so 28 instead of 25, and her first upgrade will now grant 4x damage instead of the 3x that it was before. Wizard's getting a slight buff as well, and a little nerf here. Its base attack damage is going to be 2, so its base attack damage increased by 2, so now it'll be 3 instead of 1. Its base attack speed is going to be reduced to 0.3 from 0.4, and its anti-heal duration is going to be 3 seconds instead of 2 seconds. So A little bit of a damage buff and a little bit of a duration buff for the Ice Wizard's anti-heal, but it's not going to be able to attack as quickly as it did before, so kind of makes sense for the trade-off there. Witch is going to be getting a nerf, but it's only to the skeletons part. So the skeletons are getting their HP reduced to 3 from 4, and then the second upgrade is for the skeleton HP buff is also going to be reduced to 3 from 4. This makes a lot of sense because now that the wizard deals 3 damage, it will take 2 wizard shots to kill skeletons. The Valkyrie also deals 3 damage, so now it'll take 2 shots for the Valkyrie to kill the, you know, so it just kind of makes sense that the witch's skeletons can die to the units that deal AoE damage. So I really like this change. For the witch, skeletons are meant to be swarmy, not tanky. Also, massive news for this. No, it's not going global. But the frenzy timer is going to be muted. It's not going to be insanely loud anymore. At least that's what I'm being told. So we'll see if that actually happens. Hopefully the frenzy timer is not going to be insanely loud anymore. That was really annoying. So we'll see, but let me know what you think of all these balance changes down in the comment section below. I'm honestly not seeing anything like too oppressive or I'm nervous about. The only 2 things I can see being like nervous about would be Dagger Goblin and Healing Ranger, but I really don't think those are going to be super overpowered or anything like that. I think this patch is really solid, so we'll find out. Stream is going to be live tomorrow, Thursday, about 9 a.m. Eastern, and we'll be exploring all of the new balance changes live, so make sure you tune into that stream, and we'll test out some decks and the new patch.